Welcome to Shardcast, the Brandon Sanderson podcast. We're a bunch of mega fans giving you the news, discussion, and of course, a whole lot of opinions about Brandon Sanderson's work and the Cosmere. I'm Kerry, and joining me today is Eric.
Hey, I'm Chaos, and yay, our schedules finally matched up, Kerry.
Finally matched up, and I don't have crazy loud fans causing insane amounts of background
with your
noise.
Sewage problem, which sounds way weirder than it actually was, but it's fun this way.
My house flooded and there were giant fans, the end.
Yes.
Also joining me today is Ian.
Hey, I'm WeiryWriter.
And back again today is David.
I'm Windrunner, back from the dead.
And lastly, we have Grace.
I'm GatorGirl.
5-person podcast today, you guys, because we've got a big topic to talk about today.
Ooh, yeah. We've waited so long.
We have waited so long, and now it's finally time to discuss Unity.
Oathbringer spoilers.
And we waited so long because Kerry would have killed us if we talked about this without her.
Yes. She would have divided us very effectively. Oathbringer spoilers in this podcast, very important.
Just
That's why
one
we're
or
calling
two
this podcast. Yeah.
They're just little ones.
Not that big.
It's not like the biggest moment in the book or anything. You know, no big deal.
Not at all. So, we want to start off with reading what happened, or do we want to do a little summary first?
Let's do a little summary.
Go for it.
So, in Oathbringer, Dalinar
Does some stuff.
We had a big arc. We saw him being a jerk to his flashbacks, and we discovered what happened to his wife in that he killed her. So, great job.
Killed a lot of other people, too.
Many people died.
Dalinar was not a nice person.
No. And Odium had been watching Dalinar for a very long time. And Odium was basically prepping Dalinar to be his champion. And Dalinar, once Gavilar died, Dalinar went to the valley to
The Night Watcher.
Yeah.
Well, he thought he was going to the Night Watcher.
Yeah. And Cultivation stepped in and erased the memory of his wife from Dalinar. And the whole point is that Dalinar could grow. So
she pruned him.
Yeah, pruned just so he could grow just enough so that some really awesome stuff could happen at the end of Oathbringer.
Yep.
Go check out our episode about the Valley and the Night Watcher.
Oh yeah, that's
Dalinar's visit to the Valley.
Too. Yeah. That's a good episode.
So we're going to read some excerpts from chapter 119 of Oathbringer.
Called Unity, if I remember correctly.
I think so. So there's a lot of point of view switching in there. So it's an all in sequence in the book, but these are the important
read it again
parts.
if you forgot, because it's the best. You should definitely just read it again, but we're going to read it here too.
Yes. Something stirred inside of Dalinar, a warmth that he had known once before, a warm, calming light. Unite them. Journey before destination, Dalinar said. It cannot be a journey if it doesn't have a beginning. A thunderclap sounded in his mind. Suddenly, awareness poured back into him. The Stormfather, distant, feeling frightened, but also surprised. Dalinar? I will take responsibility for what I have done, Dalinar whispered. If I must fall, I will rise each time a better man. Scene break. Unite them. Glory Spren streamed around Dalinar. Thousands of golden spheres, more Spren than he'd ever seen in one place. They swirled around him in a column of golden light. Beyond it, Odium stumbled back. So small, Dalinar thought. Has he always looked that small? Scene break. Unite them! Dalinar thrust his left hand to the side, plunging it between realms, grabbing hold of the very fabric of existence, the world of minds, the realm of thought. He thrust his right hand to the other side, touching something vast, something that wasn't a place. It was all places in one. He'd seen this before, in the moment when Odium had let him glimpse the spiritual realm. Today, He held it in his hand. Break. I am unity. He slammed both hands together and combined 3 realms into one. No, Odium screamed. He stepped forward. No, we killed you. We killed you!
Yeah. Oh.
So good.
Oh.
So good.
Pretty
That
straightforward, too.
Yeah.
Oh. It's especially because you just know in the whole book, Dalinar is horrible, and he totally could have just fallen to Odium. That would have made sense.
It would have been the easy thing.
It would have been, yeah, totally would have.
And that's human nature, is you have to choose to take the better path. And human beings as a species don't always like to do that.
No.
Indeed not.
Yeah, so basically what happened is Dalinar swore the 3rd ideal of the bondsmiths,
Yes.
and then summoned Honor's Perpendicularity, which is a thing
Grabbed
that
the
he can do.
realms.
Yep. And the interesting thing is that in chapter 122, when Odium's talking to Teravangian, Odium says Dalinar was not supposed to ascend, capital A. That's what Odium says.
Yeah, and Odium says we killed you too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Lots to unpack there.
Yeah.
I mean, it's pretty straightforward. It sounds like for a split second, Dalinar became Honor.
Yeah, I definitely think that's the implication Brandon is trying to give.
Mhm.
Yes.
Yeah, I feel like it is more likely that he is speaking about honor in this context than he is speaking about something larger like Adonalsium, as some people have also thought.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah, no.
Because people have thought of it as the vessels speaking to, like, some people do believe that Dalinar is, in some level, reassembling Adonalsium or will reassemble Adonalsium, and so that he is speaking more as, we the vessels killed you, Adonalsium. I don't particularly agree.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I don't really like that theory very
No.
much.
I think we're skipping a few steps.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You have to get Honor back. You have to get Honor back
Yeah.
before you can get Adonalsium back.
Yeah, like, what's more likely? That Dalinar is gonna reassemble all of Honor and then maybe become Honor? Or call himself Unity? That's a lot more likely than Adonalsium.
Yeah,
for sure.
I think he is going to be Honor, and I think that there's a little bit more going on with Unity than just another name for Honor.
Yes? How so?
Well, because, first of all, he's a bondsmith. His whole thing is bringing things together. And in that moment, he combined the 3 realms into one and literally held them in his hand.
Yeah.
So I think that's more of what he was describing in that moment, was him as a bondsmith, as an ascended bondsmith at that, literally being the force of bringing things together, of turning many into one.
Yeah. I'm actually going to call back to our conversation on the Odium podcast,
Yeah.
which for us was yesterday.
Yes.
So
Yes.
it's at the forefront of my mind. But so we talked a little bit about how a person's interpretation of a shard's intent will flavor how it gets expressed while they hold it. And so Dalinar is a bondsmith. Like, the second ideal is all about unity. Like, I will unite people. I will bring men together. So like that, I think, is how he views honor. So it's like, that could be how, that would flavor how honor is expressed when he holds it. Being more focused on unity.
Mm-hmm. I honestly, that's where my head kind of goes with it as well, Ian, at this point. I feel like it is very much Dalinar, like, honor has very explicitly been about bonds and about bringing things together. And in addition to, like, the swearing of oaths and whatnot, and I feel like Dalinar's focus is a little more attachment-centric than it is anything else. And that it might even, like, be, if we've heard a little bit about honor's purposes, which has not been discussed a lot, but it might even be, like, one of those purposes that has been vaguely referenced by Brandon in a couple Word of Brandon so far.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And it's
Honor's investiture wasn't like fragmented when Tanavast held it, so that could be another aspect of Tanavast didn't really have to unite anything when he picked it up.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That's true.
But to like contrast that, like if Kaladin took up honor, like he would be more focused on protecting people, I would think. Because that's
I would agree with
how
that.
the Windrunners view honor.
That maybe that feels a little bit more further into the scope of what honor is to me, but
Well,
perhaps.
I mean, as we said last time, getting what the force of a shard is into a single word is futile, in a sense, right?
Yeah.
So, like,
This is another quote from 119 with
Yeah, this is
Dalinar and the Stormfather talking about what just happened. A direct conduit to the spiritual realm, the Stormfather said. You renew spheres, Dalinar? We are connected. I was bound to men before. This never happened then. Honor was alive then. We are something different. His remnants, your soul, my will.
that's pretty interesting.
Yeah.
There.
So this, like, summoning the perpendicularity is not a bondsmith thing.
No,
that-
it is
that's not
not
their resonance?
spiritual adhesion.
No.
No.
Definitely not.
This is a function of honor being dead, the Stormfather having the largest piece of honor, and Dalinar being bonded to him. It's related to how Dalinar could release Odium from his prison, I would think.
Yeah.
Mhm.
In that sort of flavor. Yeah.
This direction might be more of what Unity was talking about, too. The three of them together, rather than Unity just being the shard.
Yeah.
Good point.
I don't know how much I like of us just changing the name of honor to a different thing. That makes me uncomfortable.
Yeah, I feel like Unity, I think Honor the Shard is involved in Unity, but I think there's something else there.
Mhm.
Yeah.
The other thing I've heard thrown around by like on the various theories that I've read is that what Dalinar is referring to as Unity is that he has been influenced by the three major shards on Rashar heavily. Honor via the Stormfather, cultivation via his time in the Valley, and Odium via his, the thrill and all his direct influence to make him a champion. And he is more or less a unity of these three powers in that, like, he's a product of those three working together is who he is now.
I really like that.
Yeah,
I
that's
had
really
not
I like
good.
that too.
that.
I don't think I've heard that one either.
I mean, that's cool, but I don't know if that's what he's going at in what we just read.
Mhm.
I don't
I
know.
mean-
I don't think about that. I think there's some metaphorical significance, but not like a direct.
Okay, how much does Dalinar understand what he just said? Like, what happened?
well,
in
that's
this-
true.
That's a good point. Yeah.
Like, yeah, seriously, he just has a voice talking into his brain saying unite them. And so it makes sense that he would call himself Unity. He doesn't know. He doesn't know.
Maybe he's
Yeah,
just like thinking, like, what's going to sound really badass right now? That I can just say,
That is a Dalinar thing to do. And also when they're
It's
talking
true.
about unite them and it's hitting him like, oh, not just unite the people, but unite the glory Spren. And he's literally holding them in his hands and they are surrounding him. It's like, well, I guess they're united and I'm standing right here. So I'm Unity.
Yeah. He's gonna unite instead of divide, and that's what he's doing, and so he's doing that.
Yeah, and also, like, people who have spiritual experiences a lot of time will say, like, oh, I said XYZ things, but, like, I don't remember saying it, or I felt prompted to say this. And regardless on feelings outside of that, the spiritual is clearly involved in what's going on with Dalinar.
Well, true.
Oh, yeah.
Mhm.
Okay. All right.
So
that's
how much of
interesting.
it was, like, prompted by the forces he was manipulating?
Mhm. That's interesting.
Lots of people think Unity's a shard. I mean, Dalinar's not a shard yet. Although
But he
Odium's
ascended, Eric.
Odium did say capital A ascend, which is
Yeah, could we
Compelling.
compare him? Could we compare him right now to somebody like Vin or the Lord Ruler, who temporarily held a shard?
I knowing we were talking about this, like that was definitely what I've been thinking for the last couple of days. That
Yeah.
it is very similar to when Vin held the power at the well. It's like they were both in perpendicularities. Like,
Yeah, I would definitely call him a sliver at this point if you were to like ask me what I thought about it.
Yeah.
I would agree with that as well. That was a very dramatic event. I think it's a little more than what Vin did at the well, right? Even if she used the power, or if Rashek used the power, right? Because there's still like that. Dalinar's still like directly connected to Honor's remnants. Like that's exactly what he says. We're something different. His remnants, your soul, my will. Those are all connected in that way. I don't know how much he can use that. Like that's not clear at all, right? I have no idea, but I think there's still a connection. Whereas if you use the well, you use it, then it's not there. You're not going to be able to use it ever again, really, right?
yeah.
I don't think someone like Vin or Rashek could summon a perpendicularity. And I'm trying to think, I think there's a wob about shards controlling where their perpendicularities appear or something. I feel like that's a thing I read. I'm gonna look, because I feel like I saw that when I was doing the perpendicularity article, but
There's definitely been at least a little bit of stuff with like Rashek moving the pole, and it also moving the well with the magnetic North Pole for whatever arbitrary reason. I honestly tend to fall on the side where I feel like Dalinar had a less intense experience than Rashek and Vin, because he gained access to something that they didn't do, but something that I believe was probably within their power if they'd wanted to, especially the Lord Ruler. We didn't see like a lot of fireworks with Vin because she gave it up immediately, but the Lord Ruler learned a lot more information than Dalinar. Like his mind was expanded and he learned all about hemalurgy. Like Dalinar doesn't have some incredibly advanced knowledge that we have so far seemed to have seen from this. So I think it's a little more limited, actually.
That's a really good point, actually. Yeah, so I think I reverse what I said before. It's impressive in some ways, but less impressive in others.
Yeah, and I mean that's the nature of what they were like, why they were holding the shard was different as well.
Oh yeah, it was. Well, it's also Honor's perpendicularity moves. That's not clear why it needs to be that way, right? Like, I feel like that it could only happen with Honor, and not anyone else, regardless of whether Honor was alive or not.
This is a minor tangent, but do we feel like the Honor's perpendicularity is normally moving with the high storm, or is that something that we don't feel like? Because I do not have a strong feeling on that.
I'm pretty sure Brandon has said it's not in the high storm.
Okay.
I mean, well, the one time we've seen it hasn't been, so...
Yeah.
Yeah, but that was a little different.
Kind of an edge case, yeah.
Yeah, and they, I think Azure mentions that it moves unpredictably.
Yeah.
And like if it moved with the high storm, like it would be predictable.
That's fair.
That's true.
Yeah.
That's true.
Somewhat predictable.
But the only time we've seen spheres get infused that we like know how it works is Dalinar summoning the perpendicularity. So
yeah, there's definitely a blurring of the realms in the high storm.
Yeah.
But I don't think it's a stable perpendicularity.
One thing that the high storm might be kind of like is when at the end, so Mistborn Secret History spoilers real quick in case you don't know about that, but when Harmony is remaking the world and Kelsier can kind of briefly, he's in and out of the cognitive realm, he's seeing the world and then he's not. And so it's not necessarily a perpendicularity, but like a larger scale, like compaction of the realms, just due to like the magic like swirling around or whatever, You're
opening the blinds instead of the door.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that makes sense considering perpendicularities are basically, there's so much investiture, it's piercing the realm. So that would make sense that if you have a lot of investiture, it's easier to see between them, right?
And,
like that makes sense.
Yeah, and even the Stormfather had never seen the spheres get refilled that way before.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, he was like, what the flip just happened there?
I feel like maybe Honor could do something similar, not the same, but maybe he could.
Yeah,
he was powering the heralds directly, so I feel like that is a pretty similar level of like it may not have been directly Stormlight, but it was a power that can be mimicked by Stormlight. So,
so the only thing I found was that perpendicularities occur naturally as a result of the shards spending time on a planet. I didn't actually specifically say whether or not they can manipulate that process. Well, they can take steps to prevent the perpendicularity from disappearing when they leave.
Oh,
it seems like it seems like it is mostly natural, but there are things they can do to sort of manipulate that process.
Yeah, because we know Harmony moved the well and the pits.
Yeah.
Well, the perpendicularity that was at the pits.
Mhm.
The pits is still there.
Doing their thing. I actually
How much
asked
of that was
Brandon-
just because he changed the entire landscape of Scadrial, though?
Mhm.
True.
Yeah.
That is a good point.
One thing that I'm just wondering is how long has Honor's perpendicularity been moving?
That I've always assumed it was when he was splintered, but like no textual
Yeah,
evidence
that's
for
kind
that.
of what I was thinking, but we just have one word of Brandon where he like casually reveals, "Oh, Honor's perpendicularity moves." Before Oathbringer came out, he just said that, and people were like, "What?" And that's about it.
Yeah,
We don't really have
because
that.
Aona and Sky's perpendicularities don't move.
That's true.
Well, Skies might. Or do we know anything about where his
We
is?
don't know anything
We
about.
don't know. No.
But
Okay.
Aona's doesn't.
Yeah,
you know,
right.
it's definitely doesn't.
Well,
yeah.
the pool that we think is Aona's is devotions, rather.
Yeah, I mean,
I feel pretty strongly about
I-
that
I-
one.
Like,
Yeah.
it's fairly obvious, but it's not explicitly confirmed.
some
Mm.
people would probably nitpick. Well, we don't know, but come on. Yeah, we don't know where Skay's or Dominion's pool is, but that's also because that could be a difference in how Odium did the splintering of those, which we
Mhm.
know that Odium got a little better at doing that, and he didn't shove all the investiture in the cognitive, which, you know, could change things. I don't know.
Well, I was
I don't know
thinking
why
if it-
Honor's perpendicularity would move. That
if
doesn't
it
make any sense to me.
moves, it might be a result of the nature of the Stormfather.
Mm. Hmm.
Yeah.
Mhm.
God.
Though the perpendicularities on Threnody aren't stable either.
Yeah.
Though I don't. It feels like Honor's perpendicularity always exists, it just moves, whereas on Threnody, they don't always exist.
I mean, it's not
Oh,
clear
yeah.
how much investiture of ambition is there,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
Oh yeah, we've talked about that in depth.
have we done that in depth on the podcast?
Oh no, I just mean like on our own.
Oh, yeah,
Uh,
yeah. Yeah, you and I, David, we have discussed this at length.
Mhm. And when I wrote the article for ambition, but yeah.
Oh, yeah, right. I just... Because there's two possibilities, right? Either Honor's perpendicularity has always moved, or it happened after Honor died, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, I would say that if we are going with the idea that that its motion has no connection to the high storm, I fall pretty strong on the fact that it probably started moving once Honor died. But but I guess maybe that was a good point though about Cell though. Like it's not like those ones are suddenly in flux because they are
Well,
dead.
I mean, it's so hard to say because that really depends on the specifics of what happened, you know?
Yeah. I'm
Mhm.
inclined to think it always moved.
Why?
It, my gut. Like,
No. Sorry, I'm not saying why as like why it's always moved. I'm more asking why
Like, what's
does
different?
it move?
Yeah.
I'm totally. That's totally possible. I'm totally cool if it
Yeah.
has always moved. I'm just wondering why it moves in the first place. Period.
Mm-hmm. The other,
probably realmatic shenanigans.
The only thing I think is like direct intervention by Honor.
That he constructed to do it that way. Yeah.
Mhm.
For whatever reason, he wanted it to move. And then after he died, maybe he could direct it with his will where it moved to. So, and now that he's
Oh.
dead, it's just moving randomly.
It's just kind of aimless.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I kind of like that actually.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously, shards can move.
Yeah, see, 'cause
Perpendicularities. Well, of
'cause-
ascension.
I always had kind of, up until we got this book, and like even when I was reading Oathbringer for the first time, kind of fully expected them to go into the base of Urithiru and find Honor's shard pool there. That is what I always believed, based on the whole building the city closest to Honor But
Oh, right. Yeah.
yeah, that was my whole belief there. But
Yeah.
instead, there was an evil monster, so that was cool too.
You didn't listen to our other podcast, David, but we theorized that the closest to honor thing is just because it's on a tall mountain,
sky,
so it's closer to the high storm.
That was the less interesting interpretation. But
yeah. Well, I mean,
Sometimes the easiest answer is the correct one.
Oh,
Yeah.
but
We
you
find
never
out
know,
in
Kerry.
book 10, place close to honor means something completely different.
Oh, probably.
there's a spaceship on top of Urithiru. Whoa.
Yeah. Though I will say, before Oathbringer, I also thought Honor's Perpendicularity would be at Urithiru.
I did too.
That
I
was
did
an incredibly popular theory.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that whole Honor's Perpendicularity moves. What? So if Honor designed it for a reason, is was it just a convenient thing to have the Perpendicularity move so he could move troops during Desolations?
Well,
Maybe, but he had the Oath Gates then,
if the
too.
Oath Gates allow
Yeah, that's true, because he...
I think
Yeah.
it might also be a defensive thing.
I was just thinking that.
If you're worried about people
Oh.
coming in and they're using your perpendicularity, because you can't
Yeah.
always control who uses a perpendicularity unless you've got, an unmade guarding it. Then, oh, surprise, you're dumped out in this random place. Figure out where you are. Have fun. Good luck.
Okay.
And we also don't know when the Oath Gates were made. It's possible it was for, say, the Heralds, and then the Radiants came and made the Oath Gates later, after he'd already set this whole system up.
So, idea that just popped into my head, that it's kind of crackpot, but So we know that Honor had the gates, like the Oath Gates shut, like he ordered the Spren to stop taking people through.
Right.
Maybe in his final days, he also made his perpendicularity begin to move to make it more difficult for people to be able to transition realms for whatever reason. He doesn't want people doing that. And so he's like, they can't find it because it's not in one spot.
That would also be very sensible.
Although it's not
for
very-
the exact same reason.
Yeah, just an idea.
It feels like he would want to talk to Cultivation about that, because it's like, yeah, your perpendicularity is just chilling, but we got to do this thing. Like, what?
But
I don't know.
he was also going insane.
The Horn-Eaters
Yeah.
kill any outsiders that go to the Perpendicularity, right? Isn't
I
that
don't
what
think
Rock
so.
said?
No.
Or
there's-
someone said that
That
the
was
Horn-Eaters
Sigzil.
kill Sigzil.
Yeah, Sigzil was like, oh yeah, people disappear because the Horn-Eaters kill them. It's like, Buck's like, no, like they just disappear.
Oh,
Like, come
I
on.
never
Yeah,
made
so
that connection.
maybe cultivation is guiding her perpendicular or guarding her perpendicularity some other way.
But basically, I think Cultivation might not necessarily have agreed with Honor.
Yeah,
Well,
I feel like
yeah.
we view them as a monolith a lot of times, like always be on the same page, and I don't necessarily believe that they were always in agreement about everything.
Yeah, no,
Well,
she takes no crap from anybody.
Yeah,
I mean, that's true. It just feels, clearly Honor was going insane, right? So
Mhm.
not
Yeah.
thinking very clearly. But at the same time, I don't know, if my plan is to come up with like these ways to defend Roshar by moving perpendicularities, and Cultivation's like, no, I'm not doing that. And I was like, well, rip, I guess that's just not gonna work.
Mhm. But like one door is better than 12, you know what I mean? Like that's still at least more
Well-
defensible.
Mhm.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, and if people are disappearing, it's either A, coincidental, or B, that perpendicularity is being guarded somehow.
Well,
Or they're just
I-
going into Shadesmar and they're like,
Yeah,
oh,
yeah,
I
shit,
think they're
no,
just
I
like
think,
going
you know?
into
yeah, I think
competitive realm
Sigzil
and
was referring
not
to,
coming back.
they didn't return, but that's because they went into the perpendicularity and not
Mhm.
die necessarily.
Yeah.
Also, I think there's a word of Brandon. I think that same one where we got at Jordan Con, where we got the thing about Nalthus customs.
Oh, yeah.
Oh yeah.
through Shadesmar,
Yeah.
but said that, maybe it's a different one that basically
No, I think
said,
it is that one.
yeah,
About how
that-
the Horn-Eaters will treat you like a god.
Yeah, the
Yeah.
Horn-Eaters will treat you like gods if you come through the perpendicularity on
That's
the other
great.
side. So
Mm.
I think all those theories are very possible. I am thinking now it's got to be set up by Honor and not the splintering.
Yeah.
That makes more sense.
Mhm.
And I'm kind of digging your theory, David. But
Which one?
I think Kerry could totally be correct too, that it was like moved and made it work for
Mm.
long ago before. Well, that was Grace's.
Mm.
Yeah.
It could have been both, though. You know what I mean? Like, he had it mobile so he could move troops, and then he's like, all right, randomize. And then
Shuffle
I
mode.
assume that was his command. Yeah, shuffle.
Yeah, like it's flip sides of the same coin, basically. Like you're either randomizing it so that you're moving it around so your troops can get in, or you're randomizing it so invaders just get dumped in random BFE places.
Does Odium have a perpendicularity? That's kind of a can of worms.
He would.
I mean,
What?
Because it would be on Braze, though.
yeah.
Where is but he's sealed on Rashar, though. That's a can of worms a little bit. Where
He's
Odium
sealed
really
in
is.
Yeah.
Rosharn's system.
I feel okay.
Man.
Well, I think we probably are too far afield now, but
Well, we didn't talk about Odium. This one's going to air the next week, so we might as well, because we didn't even talk about that last week at all.
No, we didn't.
oh,
About
perpendicularity.
Odium's perpendicularity. I completely forgot. There's this whole thing about Odium's trapped on Braze. There's a word of Brandon, but clearly he could just be on Roshar. Clearly, that's not a problem.
It's a force projection.
Yeah.
There it is.
Yeah. Last Jedi spoilers, guys.
Odium still has power on Roshar, so he can manifest there.
Oh,
Yeah.
Also, I mean, his perpendicularity may have been how people arrived to Roshar in the first place.
And would Odium have been able to appear on Roshar before the Everstorm was summoned?
Well, that's a very good point, because he does seem to require that. But well, he can enter Dalinar's visions, but that's not really really manifest.
Because that's
right?
in the spiritual realm.
realm.
Yeah.
But every time
Right.
he appeared to Venli, it was during an Everstorm.
Mhm.
Right?
True. He needed the Everstorm to manifest there. He needed the Everstorm to be in Eritharu.
Mhm. Okay, so I guess the reason that I always kind of assume, or that I get confused about it, is when the Stormfather is talking to Dalinar and explaining the entire book plot, essentially, in part 2, when we're like, oh, this is what's actually going on.
Oh, we're definitely gonna have a podcast about that, David.
Oh,
We'll
okay,
talk about
cool.
that later. Yeah.
Oh, wait, but this is just a related line.
Yeah,
As
yeah, no,
Odium
yeah.
is sealed by the powers of honor and cultivation, your herald sealed the Spren of the dead into the place you call damnation. So I guess you could read that either way, but I was thinking honor and cultivation are on Rashar. Their power is based on Rashar. How are they sealing him somewhere that they're not? But you could also read that as just like they sealed him on damnation, the herald sealed the Spren of the dead on damnation. So
Yeah. I feel it has to be on Braze because the heralds have to get to the planet.
Yeah, the Heralds have to get to the planet. The Rosharans had to get to the planet.
Yeah.
but they didn't come from Braze.
Well, no, the Rosharans don't go to Braze.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, she's saying from Ashen to Roshar.
Okay.
From Asher
That-
to Roshar,
there
sorry.
could have been
Oh, in the
Odium could have put
past.
the perpendicularity
Yeah.
there. That's
Yeah.
totally fine, right?
Mhm. No, I was thinking, yeah. Oh, the other thing that makes me think that he is on Braze, though, is I think there's a mention when Venli is getting one of her scary Odium visions where she looks up and she sees a star in the sky, and then it kind of expands, and that might be Braze.
Well, that's
where he
also
is.
a little bit like what Dalinar saw when, that just feels like spiritual mumbo jumbo.
Oh,
Necessarily,
well, I was just saying, that star is the planet. They're looking
Yeah,
up and they're
I'm
seeing the
definitely
planet
with
in the system.
I
David on
read it
this.
that way too.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because she sees the planet below her and she looks into the void of space. And
And she sees the star.
yeah, that's kind of how astronomy works.
So yeah, we've gone a little bit far afield, but it's still interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do we want to try to circle
Okay,
back
yeah.
and get
Okay,
into
I
we
have-
killed you thing?
Oh, I
Oh,
had
go
a
ahead, Grace.
question about Unity. So, did Honor plan or set up for someone to become Unity before his death? Do you guys think?
I don't think so.
Because in the visions, Honor is always saying, unite them.
yeah,
I think he.
I think he planned and hoped for somebody to be able to take up the splinters and reunite Honor. I'm not sure if Unity specifically is what he had in mind, or if that
Well-
is its own consequence of other stuff that happened.
it's probably a gambit to what to do after my shard has been killed. Like, this is my gambit. Unite Radiance, that's important. But also, this is important, too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think
I could definitely see that.
He just always mentions how bad he is at seeing the future. Like, that's not his thing.
Yeah.
And I think he's hopeful that someone might, but that any level of planning that's happening here is probably cultivation's influence rather than honor, because honor can't see it so well. So he might be like, this will give us a good chance at someone doing it, but I don't think he's like preservation, incredibly manipulative, like, but put the Yar on the board, getting it to work.
But you think he knew what would happen? Like, he knew that it was possible for someone to become Unity.
But I don't think he laid out. I don't think he laid out the steps and was like, "I will." You know how preservation chose then,
I
like
agree
that sort
with
of thing.
that.
I don't think he was involved in that.
I don't think honor chose Dalinar. I mean, the visions were going out to anyone with a chance at being a bondsmith.
I feel like it was pretty scattershot until someone would actually grab it, and he probably knew this. You can ascend, air quotes, right? But
I think that does tie into he's not as good at seeing the future, so he can't plan. It's like, oh, I picked this guy, so he made a general thing to like, okay, like try it with everybody you can, Stormfather. Like, and
better hope it's you find the right guy.
Yeah. But would honor at the time, like before his death and while he was still able to think, would he have been able to understand? Like, would he have known what splintering was?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
Because it had happened to other people before.
Yeah.
And if he'd been paying attention.
So,
and
he was probably...
Ada Nauseam.
Yeah. And so unite them also could be referring to that. Is like, somebody needs to come and pick up the pieces
of me.
Of the shard specifically. So I think he's more referring to honor there, and then unity happened because of interactions of other stuff.
I think it's more just... I wouldn't be surprised if Dalinar calls himself Honor later, and not Unity, right? Like, it doesn't... I don't think that's especially important, necessarily.
We might be making more of this than there is. That's the other possibility, which we do sometimes. And it's as simple as Eric is saying that he is Honor. And it was just one line.
He's that force.
Yeah, he's definitely going to become Honor. Like, I am very much sure of that. I think that Unity is related, but I don't think it's just another name for the Shard.
On like a similar note, do we feel like we're going to see Dalinar at some point fully ascend?
I think so. I've thought that since book 2.
Probably. But I have a thought on what Unity is. What if Unity is just a particularly large splinter of honor? Because we know splinters can have their own intents.
Yes, I got that one.
Yeah.
You're welcome.
Yes. And so, like, we know honor has these 10 purposes that we know nothing about, and that Brandon is not choosing to share with us at this point in time. That, like, what if Unity is one of his purposes? And it's the one Dalinar is most closely associated with, because he's a bondsmith.
I like that a lot.
They do Unity stuff.
Or, well, yes.
I like that a lot.
Yeah.
Or it's the part that got stuck with the Stormfather, because the Stormfather, when Odium Honor died, and that's a chunk the Stormfather got.
Honor could have, like, deliberately put a fragment of his power, like, before he died in this splinter, like, right?
Yeah.
He definitely was, like, messing with the Stormfather as he was dying. Like, we know that to be true. So,
well, some of that could more be diffuse of just the death itself rather than, like, a particular thing. Like, a death whale would be different than, okay, this really is the end. I need to, like, do some contingency of, like, okay, let's put a big splinter connected to this, create these visions and all that crap.
But he like was setting up the Stormfather to like make new honor Spren. Remember, like he was preparing for his death and like had been involved with the Stormfather.
Yes.
Yeah, and it could be that, it could be that the Stormfather himself is associated with the splinter of Unity, and that also Dalinar as a person is very focused on that, and that's part of what brought them together in the first place. Is that unity of purpose.
Oh.
Hey, Ian, I don't think I've heard that 10 purposes wob. Why don't you find it? Because I'm sure some of our listeners haven't either.
That's true. There's two of them, I think.
Isn't it? It's pretty at least the one I'm thinking of is pretty paraphrased is the only thing. Like it was just like a line brought back.
So
there's another
this
one.
Is one of Evgeny's.
Yeah.
That years and years ago, he asked about something and Brandon talked about honor's purposes, but Evgeny was not able to get it on recording. And Evgeny actually asked again at JordanCon about it. And so let's see, Argent, back in 14, you referred to honor's purposes to me at one point. Is that still a thing in the Cosmere? Brandon, honor's purposes. Argent, honor's purposes. You've referred to 10 of them using the concept of Shardic numbers, but I don't have that on record. I don't know anything about it. It's been a confusing topic ever since. Brandon, so that's still a deal. It just plays into the 10 names of the Almighty and the 10 attributes of the fools and the 10 attributes of the Almighty. Argent, our purpose is something every shard has? Brendan, I wouldn't say no. It's playing more into the nature of honor itself.
Okay.
I don't think we read that one on our JordanCon one. So good.
I'm pretty sure we did.
And that really makes sense because honor so far seems very, like, what we've seen anyway, seems very focused on like rules and oaths. And so like having a mission statement basically seems like something honor would do.
Yeah.
It really
like
does.
I am going to state my purposes and these are the things I'm going to do and how I'm going to do them.
And it plays into the theme of 10 on Roshar. 10 orders of Knights Radiant, 10 heralds.
Do we want to go more into if we think Dalinar is really going to ascend a little further? Because that was something I did want to talk about a little more.
Yeah,
Okay, cool.
sorry.
No, it's all good. Like, it's fine. I've changed the subject too quickly. But, so, how are people feeling about that? Will Dalinar become a full, ethereal, insubstantial shard at some point in the book series?
Only
so.
if Navani gets to ascend to cultivation, because I don't want to separate them. But I do think it's highly probable.
Yeah.
If he does, I don't know. I don't know that he will ever be as powerful as the original 16, even if he does.
Well, there's a few aspects there if we're saying, oh yeah, he will. Like, Honor's power was splintered.
Yeah.
Presumably a lot of that is in Spren. So how much Dalinar ascends is highly dependent on the fate of those Spren, I think.
Yeah.
Like
Brennan has also said about, like, Spren existed while Honor was alive. And, like,
true.
And they were still part of Honor.
Like, there's just a lot more of them now. And I feel like their power is not accessible. You know, like how Kelsier was talking about how the myths were troops he couldn't use. Like, I feel like the Spren would be like that. Like, they're still a part of you, but like they're not something he can use to like punch Odium in the face.
So he's a shard, but he only has access to a fraction of the shard's power because the other part of it is inaccessible to him. I can see that.
Yeah. I mean, unless there's this big campaign of unity to do something about that, like that could be
Spren genocide.
Well, I mean, the Spren in that series literally flocked to him, or in that scene, rather.
It doesn't have to be genocide. It could be, let us put all of our knowledge and power together for us to fight this greater threat. Like,
I was holding this for you. You can have it back now.
Like, maybe. I have no idea. It really depends on many, many specifics on these things that we really don't know anything about.
I mean,
they just become like the Dalinar Borg, and he can just act through all of them.
Yeah.
The third oath allowed him to summon a perpendicularity. We have no idea what the fourth and fifth oaths are going to let him do.
So Odium does say to one of the fuse, like, I can take back the power I put into you to make you not go into the beyond. So it's like, Honor could probably do that with the Spren, like just revoke the investiture in them.
True.
It'd be really popular too.
Mean, but it's probably something he could do.
I wonder what threshold Dalinar would need to be to do that.
Yeah. So we've
Like, it
talked
makes
about
sense
that a little
Odium
bit too.
could, but like when you're remaking it.
Yeah.
Like, what fraction of a power of a shard do you need before you start getting kind of more godlike than human-like? But
before
Yeah,
you are the shard.
yeah.
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 Yeah, because Dalinar reverted, so
Yeah, this is going to be one of those like muddy lines that is not really a hard line, I don't think.
Mhm.
But also as a note, obviously, if the other two bondsmith, if they swore the third ideal, they wouldn't do this,
Yeah.
right?
No,
it's
definitely.
obviously very special. So
it's probably because of the massive amount of honor that the Stormfather specifically has.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So-
like post-death, yeah.
Dalinar
Yeah.
has what was the joke I had from yesterday? Power of attorney. Yeah, Dalinar has power of attorney over Honor's corpse.
that's right. Yes.
Yeah,
Power
pretty
of
much.
attorney.
When
Not eternity,
when
eternity.
Dalinar's body vaporizes because of the amount of power he has, I will call him a shard.
Yeah.
That's
That's
true.
a good line. Yeah, that's a good...
true. Eventually, that will happen, and if so, then he's the shard, and that's what.
See-
And then I'll call him that. And if he wants to be called Honor or Unity, that's what I'll call him, I guess.
Like, my only hesitation with Dalinar becoming Honor is, how does Brandon A, not make this feel like Mistborn, because that's a problem, and B, how does, like, assuming, like, eventually, ideally, Odium's gone, or like Rashar's doing better, yada yada, how does it not get boring because you've got, like, a benevolent god literally watching over your planet? Like, Sazed has his whole inability to act, which, like, makes him, like, involved but not, like, oppressive, but, like, you can't leave one of your protagonists, like, with all this power and, like, everything's hunky-dory for forever. You know what I mean?
I can't imagine Dalinar choosing not to get involved.
Yeah.
Yeah, so... Like, I just don't know
Be a
how you can
friendly
do it
shard
and
in
make
Era
it feel
4.
different. Yeah.
He could
Well,
be
I
a
mean-
friendly shard in Era 4.
And to be fair, I mean, you had the Lord Ruler temporarily ascend and mess Scadrial up. You had Vin temporarily ascend once and release the power, temporarily ascend another time, well, temporarily, and put the, do
Briefly.
her own stuff. And we had Dalinar temporarily ascend and create a perpendicularity. And those didn't feel the same.
Mm-hmm. But, like, I just don't want the end of the Stormlight Archive or, like, Brandon's books to become character becomes god and defeats enemy god,
So
And
like,
Odium says, "Welcome, Dalinar, to godhood."
yeah.
The end of the
and
book,
you're like,
Moash will tear an earring out of Dalinar's ear.
yeah.
I do think, though, that, like, even though Dalinar would be a benevolent god, he is also a military general and a father. I don't think life on Roshar is immediately going to get, like, cakewalk level easy because he's god. He's going to be that god who's like, no, I'm going to watch you trip over your own 2 feet and faceplant on the concrete. And
Alethi codes of war, everyone.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
like, I told you not to run while holding scissors, and you did anyway, and look what happened.
Yeah.
All,
Like,
all
also-
alcohol vanishes. And
He's
going to
be
planet,
he's
and
gonna be
it's like,
the dadliest of gods.
The tough love god.
The Shard of Dad. That's going to be his name, Dad.
That's gonna be
Yeah.
could that be the episode title? Shard of Dad.
But there's no guarantee that if he ascends, it's going to be at the end of the Stormlight Archive. Like, it could happen in book 5,
Yeah, and it could
right
happen
before
in
the break.
Yeah, it could happen in the middle of a book.
Yeah.
Could happen in book 5, and then Odium kills Dalinar. Then
oh, that would be and like re-splinters it even further, and everyone's just like, oh,
get wrecked.
yeah. I always felt like the break at book 5 is going to be like, but
I
Yeah,
mean-
it has to be.
Yeah, it's gonna be bad. Like,
Given that I thought the end of book 5 was going to be Odium showing up in person,
yeah, I know. Didn't we all think that?
Yeah.
Didn't we all think that?
yeah, I did too. I thought he was going to like transition from planet to planet at the end, and then you'd
Yeah,
be like,
no,
oh no,
part
he's
2.
on Roshar.
Hey, I'm the other one. What's up?
Yeah,
That's
I
what
was a
Odium
little.
said. He said
I was a
so.
little annoyed at Dalinar though in that moment when he was like, "Oh, are you Tanavast?" I'm like, "No, you've seen Tanavast, man. That doesn't look like him."
Yeah, but then you get that awesome line of Dalinar saying, "Are you God?" and Odium just says, "Yes." Like, I'll take it. That's too cool. One thing that's kind of odd is in that very first quote we read, it was a warmth that he had known once before, a warm, calming light. That actually was a weird thing from Words of Radiance, the very end.
Yes.
Where Dalinar just feels this warm light, and he asks the Stormfather, "Did you send a vision?" And Stormfather's like, "No, I didn't." That's what the Stormfather sounds like.
Nuh-uh. Yeah.
Nuh-uh.
He is super snarky, though.
Yes.
Did Dalinar's weird Nohadon vision happen before or after this?
Before.
Okay.
Way before.
Okay.
Yeah.
This
timeline's confused, but okay.
Well,
before the
chapter 1
perpendicularity.
Yeah.
Yeah, way before.
But I do think the weird Nohadon vision is related.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Man, you're right. You're right.
Yeah. See, my thought on the whole thing is honestly that this is not something that is going to be important to the plot at any level, but this is Brandon's little question mark. Is there a true creator god to the universe of the Cosmere? Is there not? That's for you to decide. And then he's just going to, like, Dalinar will have his faith that there's something beyond, and he'll have these moments where he feels that something beyond is talking to him or interacting with him, and then it's up to the reader to decide whether or not they think there's something there.
Yeah, I could definitely see that.
So apparently, I'm just looking at this now. There's no sense in that next Nohadon vision.
I feel like he references it afterward, and he's like, I feel like this is like that Nohadon vision where I felt that feeling, instead of being in the vision itself.
It's
but
definitely not in the vision itself.
No. Well, the warm feeling doesn't happen in the Nohadon vision, but I think, like, the vision where he gets the warm feeling and the Nohadon vision are related in some way.
Yeah.
I'm trying to remember this because I am blanking at the moment.
I know.
And normally I'm the one who remembers all this random crap.
I know.
Like, it's a scene where, like, he's talking with Nohadon as an older person, and he has surge binding powers, and it's weird.
And there's what are there? Thunderclaps that are, like, walking around and, like, waving at him, and he's like, "What's going on with your head, man?" You know,
go to the market.
I remember the weird vision. I don't remember the warm feeling.
Okay. Yeah, it was at the tail end of Words of Radiance. It's just...
It was like one line.
It was like him remembering his childhood or something.
And like when he like his room with like his toy swords and stuff. Like it was just like a little memory.
When he's with Navani, end, I think.
Yeah.
Do you want to see it? I got it right here. Okay, cool.
Do it.
Let's see.
Words of Radiance.
Yeah, this is Words of Radiance, chapter 89.
That's the last chapter, I think.
Yeah, very beginning of the chapter. Yeah, it's the 4. So
that's the last chapter.
Dalinar stood in darkness. He turned about, trying to remember how he'd come to this place. In the shadows, he saw furniture, tables, a rug, drapes from Azir with wild colors. His mother had always been proud of those drapes. My home, he thought. It was as it was when I was a child, back before Conquest, back before Gavilar. Hadn't Gavilar died? No, Dalinar could hear his brother laughing in the next room. He was a child. They both were. Dalinar crossed the Shadow Room, feeling the fuzzy joy of familiarity, of things being as they should be. He'd left his wooden swords out. He had a collection, each carved like a shard blade. He was too old for those now, but he still liked having them, as a collection. He stepped to the balcony doors and pushed them open. Warm light bathed him, a deep, enveloping, piercing warmth, a warmth that soaked down deep through his skin into his very self. He stared at that light and was not blinded. The source was distant, but he knew it well. He smiled, and then he wakes up.
Okay. What if, now that Dalinar is, like, actually bonding the Stormfather, the whole vision nexus thing is starting to blur a little, and, like, the warm light is honor. And, like, that at that point, he's looking right at honor.
Okay. So you're saying with the vision blurring, that weird thing from Jordan Kahn where the visions are like the spiritual wrapped in the cognitive, so you can think about this, and so your brain doesn't melt, right?
Yeah, like the cognitive framework is starting to, like, expand and, like, wobble a bit.
I must have missed that one. That sounds interesting.
Yeah, man.
Gotta keep your cognitive glasses on. Don't look directly at a shard without glasses.
Don't look directly in the spiritual realm.
Mm-hmm. And so it's like the light is bleeding through enough that like it's recognizable without vaporizing his brain.
Yep.
So maybe the Noadon vision is down our subconscious twisting the visions into something to process what's going on, maybe? I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. There's another part in Oathbringer chapter 111, because this is also kind of connected to the voice that keeps saying unite them.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
And so this quote says, "Unite them." A voice whispered the words in Dalinar's mind, echoing with the same resonant sound from months ago when Dalinar had first started seeing the visions. "I'm doing so," Dalinar whispered back. "Unite them." "Stormfather, is that you? Why do you keep saying this to me?" "I said nothing." It was growing hard to distinguish between his own thoughts and what came from the Stormfather. Visions and memories struggled for space in Dalinar's brain. So that's interesting because the Stormfather sends the visions, but he's not sending those unite them things.
Maybe it's just the Stormfather like messing with them, and he's just whispering like unite them. And he's like,
the
what is that?
The Stormfather is very particular. If he did it, he would absolutely mention it, David.
Yeah, I think because until Dalinar bonded the Stormfather, like he didn't have as much control over what was going on. Like part of that is Stormfather just didn't tell him that, oh yeah, I can bring other people in.
Well, yeah.
I can play things at will. But I think part of it is also that Dalinar is getting a greater control over it. Because he is de facto honor as far as a lot of things are concerned.
Those are coming from honor, right? Like those unite thems, or like some echo of honor.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I would say so.
That could be because Dalinar gets echoes from the spiritual realm. Like those are the voices he hears.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah,
that'd be a long time for thing. Yeah. Mm. I wonder if honor would persist like really long because he used to be a shard, or if he would like not, you know?
Well,
it's been like 2,000 years still.
Well, so here's the thing. Remember that when you hold a shard, you don't know everything, but you know the history of those who held it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And so, like, if you're connected to honor, you could get those echoes just from him because honor held that power.
Mm-hmm. And there's also the word of Brandon about how when Kaladin was a kid, like, he was good at the sword because he's bonded to Syl in the future. And since there's that connection is in the spiritual realm, and like the spiritual realm is has no time, so it's just like
they've always been bonded.
Yeah, so it's like weirdness that like in the future Dalinar is heavily associated with honor, and that's just bleeding backwards in time.
Oh man!
Oh god!
Once you start getting to all here. Times are one, you're like, oh no!
Yeah. Which I just love that the Alethi glyph for doctor is a TARDIS. I just love that.
Oh,
completely off topic, but I love that.
Great.
I didn't know that. I have to read that glyph post.
Doctor Who is Cosmere confirmed.
Yeah, but it's really interesting, that warm light. So I guess that is, like honor's power. Mm-hmm. I'm kind of digging that theory, Ian. But it's so weird. Brandon packs so much into those endings that you're like, the book ended. Then weird line, Dalinar warm light vision. Like, I don't know what the crap that means. Like, I have no idea what that is even supposed to mean. Really.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I could definitely see it being like something to do with honor, but I think I'm still sticking a little bit with like it just being like make up your mind whether or not this is the Cosmere's god, because it does sound like when Brandon describes like his own LDS faith to me a little bit, when he's like, I've had these experiences that make me think there's something, but they're just for me, Yeah, it's the way I think of it. But
I mean, as a writer, you're probably just thinking, how can I magically tie down maybe things that I felt in like a rigorous framework here, like that's fun. That's fun to do if you're.
Well, I was thinking like less rigorous, honestly. Like it's just like how he thinks about having a religious experience.
Oh, sure, yeah, okay.
Yeah.
But like he's setting up the Cosmere to like have things like that happen. You know?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Right,
like things that
mean.
are like demonstrably true. Yeah. Uh-huh.
Like setting up visions occurring, or like
or Wax talking to
of...
Harmony. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
We really don't know a lot about Unity because Brandon has Rapho'd everything when anyone asks anything about Unity. He's just like, Rapho, insta-Rapho.
Yeah,
he said Unity, Rapho.
That's a sign right there that Dalinar obviously is pretty significant if we couldn't tell this already from him ascending.
Yes. Oh, and another thing is, the very first chapter that Dalinar had in Way of Kings was titled Unity.
Really?
Yeah.
No way.
Yes.
Yeah, it is.
I didn't know that.
That's amazing.
Well, that's because he's hearing unite them in the very first chapter, guys. That's not that impressive.
Yeah,
the whole point of his arc.
It is
cool. It is cool. It is cool because really, it all does connect to Dalinar's arc.
Yes.
You know, in everything. I'll unite instead of divide, because most of my life I just divided, right?
Yeah.
Kind of
well,
thing.
I mean, he did conquer and unite a whole country even back when he was a huge jerk.
Unity through force, you know.
Well, that's the Gavilar way, right?
Yeah.
That's the Gavilar way, in a sense.
Well, the Gavilar way is actually trying to trigger an apocalypse. So,
well, okay, that's true.
Yeah.
Okay,
just imagine if Gavilar had become Unity. The mess that would have caused.
Would
it have actually happened?
If Gavilar had been able to bond with the Stormfather, he had a proto-bond thing going.
Yeah, but would
I feel like
the bond
he's not the person to progress it. Yeah,
far enough.
Yeah.
I do want to ask, like, at some point, what the whole mechanism was for who the heck the Stormfather was picking to be like see these visions, because there is that one weird, like, which I don't even know if it makes sense to the timeline anymore, but referenced in one of the epigraphs about a guy who saw visions during the high storms. It was one of the death rattles.
Yeah.
And he was just like some random Potter who died. So like, wasn't exactly like a terribly important character.
Maybe he collected fragments of pots to unite them together.
Yeah.
He was like a restoration Potter.
Well, I think it was like anybody who had the potential to be a bondsmith.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So whatever those criteria are, it's like you don't have to be important to be a Radiant.
I'm just like, but like, I assume like at any given point there are like X number of people that like could be a bondsmith. So like, was he just picking them randomly? You know what I mean?
Okay. I just grabbed the death rattle. I don't think that that death rattle has nothing to do with what we're talking about.
Really?
That chanting, that singing, those rasping voices.
That's not the one we're talking about.
Yeah, that's not at all the one we're talking about.
Well, it's made from a middle-aged Potter, and there's no other one that are made by a Potter, so there.
Does it say
a
recipient was known to see visions in the High Storm?
Okay, I'm going to find the actual one.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Okay.
That is the one. That's
no,
exactly
it's not
the one. Reported seeing strange dreams during high storms during the last 2 years. That's exactly the one.
You didn't read that part, Eric.
You didn't read that
That's
part.
the important part. You read like the least interesting part of the whole thing.
Okay. Yeah, like the death rattle is not the important part.
Okay.
It's reported seeing visions in the high storms for the last 2 years.
Yeah, well, that vision is clearly not what Honor is giving.
No, but that's his death rattle. That's not the visions he's been having in the high storm for the past 2 years.
Of course they're not related. They have nothing to do with each other.
Okay, fine. I now understand what you're actually saying, so great. Mm-hmm.
Except it does mean that there are at least 2 potential bondsmiths who have also been touched by an unmade.
Guess that's true.
Yeah.
But I mean, Moloch's touch is like not super extreme.
No.
Yeah. Wouldn't that be, and maybe 3 if you think that Gavilar was communicating with 1 or more unmade.
Yeah, Well, isn't that the 2? Well,
no,
I guess
this Potter guy,
the Potter and Dalinar. Yeah, so
I think. Well, obviously, Gavilar counts too. I think so. 3,
probably.
All 3.
So we have at least 3.
How would he see dreams during the last 2 years? That really doesn't make any sense given the timeline.
Well, I don't really know.
It's like, look at the
wouldn't it?
date. Like,
It's 1173, so that's like near. That's Cac. Calic is like the 8th month. Yeah. Ooh, that might not like make sense with when Gavilar was bonded. Like maybe they all see visions.
Yeah,
if you're...
I don't. Do the visions have to go to one person at a time?
Yeah, this was during the open interview phase.
Potentially.
I always assumed it was he just sent them to whoever could until he actually
Exactly.
bonded Dalinar.
Exactly. Like, he's just beaming him out to anybody who is able to pick him up.
That seems like a very good question to ask as to whether the Stormfather could send out visions to just one person at a time.
What else do we want to talk about?
I don't know. I feel like, I mean, Dalinar's not a shard yet, but I guess Odium thinks he's on that path to doing that, right?
yeah.
Mhm.
So,
Yeah.
would we consider Dalinar a sliver?
I would.
Yeah,
Yes.
I would.
Because if he ascended, he has to be.
Yeah, and I mean, they literally said he ascended with a capital
Yeah,
A.
Yeah.
But it would be nice to get confirmation on that.
Well, you can't ask the Stormfather because he just uses the word sliver for random stuff. So
That makes me so angry.
To be fair, our definitions of sliver and splinter are very old.
yeah,
They're very old, considering our contemporary knowledge from modern quotes. Modern
Yeah.
quotes in the ancient times of 2010.
Well, Brandon just used the wrong term. And it's like, oh, the Stormfather doesn't know what he's talking about.
I mean, the
That's not a
Stormfather
good
called it a
excuse.
fused Spren, so...
yeah, he's doing his own thing. If you don't tell the Stormfather he's wrong though, because that's
The
just not
Stormfather
gonna
does
go
not
well.
give a crap. He will call it whatever he wants.
So, any final thoughts other than Dalinar is awesome because he is.
That's certainly true. Lift would agree. Dalinar is awesome.
I'm trying to think. I would say that at this point, I strongly believe that Dalinar is becoming honor with maybe a little bit of extra like unity from some sort of like 10 purposes or not, but who knows?
Could just be an interpretation of how he views the shard. Whatever filtering.
Yeah, I know,
that
but like
is.
I'm just saying like something like that is kind of where I'm landing on
Yeah.
what's going on in that quote.
I do really like the idea of unity being one of the 10 purposes because that mirrors really well with, the 10 orders of Knights Radiant and unity, bondsmiths.
That's true.
Yeah.
That is true.
Okay. And perhaps part of Dalinar ascending to honor is understanding each of the orders instead of being like, I am a bondsmith, like this is how we view honor. Understanding each of how the other orders view honor. So you can be more cohesive and like
Yeah.
all of these things are honor.
What does being honorable mean?
Yeah.
It just reminded me of Egwene's arc towards the end of the Wheel of Time. Which, if you
Yeah.
read it, you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, I see what you're talking about.
If it's not past the Shadow Rising, I don't know what you're talking about.
I have no idea what you're talking about.
I think you made it further than I did, David.
That was my 4th try.
Yeah, it's like book 11 that I'm talking about. So
Yeah, it was a really good arc, though.
the first book with that Brandon wrote.
Go
Huh.
figure.
What book 12 is.
Okay, then it's book 12.
Book 12, Gathering Storm.
Yeah,
11's Knife of Dreams.
yeah.
Okay.
I really do like the unity being one of the purposes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I don't really know. He's not a shard yet, guys.
No, he's
No,
not a shard
but-
yet.
Yeah.
I would definitely
getting
call him
there.
a sliver at this point.
Mhm. I like Grace's definition a lot. He's a shard when his body vaporizes. Then he's a shard.
Yeah, I
And-
mean,
Perhaps we should explain what we mean by sliver, because viewers might not know.
We probably should.
A sliver is somebody who has held a significant portion of a shard and has since given it up. It's like a balloon that you fill with air and then you let all the air out. it was stretched, and so it's not the same shape that it was before.
And there's some residue on the person. I think with Dalinar, it's a little different because, again, he's still connected to that power in a way that's quite different from what we saw in Mistborn with Rashek and Vin. But yeah. Clearly, he is being shaped by that power.
Yes. So, are you all ready for Who's That Cosmere Character?
Oh, yeah.
Let's do it.
Yeah.
Right. So the game is, there's going to be a character, and there will be 5 clues, and after each clue, people will get a guess, and you can just guess. And whoever guesses it gets all the pride and glory.
Mm-hmm. Yep. And I'm really hoping that we haven't had this character before, because I literally don't remember all of the characters we've had. So,
well, yeah.
Okay, so clue number 1. This character is a philosopher.
Ooh. See, you can have a same character, but with different clues. Like, will we probably get a Shallan one again? Yeah, I mean, that's...
Probably.
Let's say a philosopher. Quan.
Ooh.
No.
That's good. That's a good guess.
Oh.
I'm thinking of, like, that Shin philosopher who ended with Daughter Hasweth, but I don't remember what her first name was.
There's actually 2 Daughter Hasweths, I think.
Oh,
Yeah,
that's right! Oh, no, there are!
It is neither of the Daughter Hasweths.
Okay, that's great.
It's not a Lee?
Oh, so we're guessing after every clue?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
You get 1 guess per clue.
Okay.
Okay, I'll go with... Elend was a philosopher, right? Yeah.
Yeah, I would say he was a philosopher. He's not the character, but...
I have
a good one.
All right, but I need another.
Okay.
But Kerry hasn't guessed. I don't.
You do not have to have a guess.
Yeah.
If you want to differ.
Is it Axes?
No.
Because he waxes philosophical.
Yeah. It is not Axes.
I'd agree with that. Yeah. Okay.
Okay. Number 2.
Okay.
This person has killed people.
Oh.
Well, it's not Sazade, is it? Like, that's pretty...
Is that your guess?
Yes.
It is not Sazed.
Okay, cool. I don't want to ruin it too early in case I accidentally get lucky.
Dalinar?
No. It is not Dalinar.
Is it?
I had another
is
idea,
it
but I don't think
Yasna? She's kind of a philosopher.
No. It is not Yasna.
Ooh.
Is it Ham?
No. It is not Ham.
That would, if it had been Ham, I would have been impressed. That's a good idea.
See, I wanted to guess the person who wrote the Book of False Dawn that was mentioned in Mistborn: The Final Empire, but I don't think that guy killed anyone.
Okay.
You never know.
Okay, so clue number 3 is this character was suspected to be a Radiant.
Oh.
Okay, well, at least we got
Yim?
a planet now.
Yim?
No.
Oh, Arklo.
Yes.
Oh!
There we go.
Okay.
There we go. Got the
Suspected
Edge Dancer
Radiant?
reference. That's good. Yeah, because I thought he was a Lightweaver, remember?
Yeah.
That's what the Skybreakers had assumed it was him, but it wasn't.
I was trying to decide if
Oh.
Vivenna's advice to Adolin made her a philosopher or not.
Okay.
For the record, the Book of False Dawn, I believe, and I have not looked this up, I think was written by Dov Conti? I think that's what his name was.
So clue number 4 was this character is non-human.
Okay.
And clue number 5 was this character is immortal.
Oh,
That
no,
was
I'm
good.
totally wrong about who wrote the Book of False Dawn.
I think Dove Conti is a Risharan author.
It is, who wrote about the False Desolation. Which,
Oh,
another
false.
thing I wrote
Yeah.
about on the cover mind.
They both have false.
Yeah.
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 The Dawn of the False Desolation.
Mhm.
That guy.
So if you have submissions for Who's That Cosmere Character, send them to whosthatcosmerecharacter@gmail.com. And we will use them on this show as long as they're not fictional characters or mythological characters.
Mentioned once. That
or, yeah.
Otherwise,
we'll
they
get
have
very
to be
grumpy
fictional
with you.
characters, right? You know?
Yeah. We'll call you out on...
They can be minor, but
Yeah.
like, if they're mentioned once in one place,
Mhm.
that's like super hard to get to, then probably. Oh. The person who wrote the Book of False Dawn started with a D, so that's why I got confused. This has nothing to do with anything, but now you guys remember. It's Deleuze Coover. Great.
And with that, I think that means it is officially time to wrap up the episode.
Yes.
Make sure you follow us on 17thshard.com. You can also follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and SoundCloud. You can give us a like, a subscribe on those places. You can also give us a review on iTunes. Because, yay, we're on iTunes, you guys.
We are. It only took me since
6
2012. Yeah, did it. Nailed it. But we have consistent episodes now, so it's fine. It's fine. It was all planned.
You got it done before the ball ended, so...
Hey! No one knows what we're talking about.
We do.
A very small subset know what we're talking about.
About 10 people know what that joke it means.
All right, guys, we'll see you next time. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.
Caw.